Welcome to this presentation on the Korbonos spreadsheet. You may be familiar with the Korbonos spreadsheet or maybe not. There are some other videos and documentation on it, and we'll refer to those locations momentarily. But in any case, what we are going to do in this video is explore some of the features of the Korbonos spreadsheet together with a bit of a scavenger hunt, and we'll get to that shortly. In this video, we'll cover the following scenarios. First of all, provide a method for doing a query or a filter to find a list of when one would bring a Korbonos. The second scenario is to answer the question, is the Korban Pesach unique? And in the fact that out of the Korban Pesach, nothing is given to the Kohanim. It is totally eaten by the owners. That is a scavenger hunt, and I will set the context to that when we do the video, or that portion of the video. The links to the Korbonos spreadsheet is available at the link listed, and documentation, and there's a video introduction to the entire spreadsheet. Or what you can do is just Google Korbonos spreadsheet. Last time I looked, the first result that came up was the YouTube to the Korbonos spreadsheet. You can go there and find the listings to the other documents in the description of the YouTube video. Now on to the Korbonos spreadsheet itself. We are now looking at the Korbonos spreadsheet itself, and first, just to provide an orientation, the full Korban listing, that's another tab which we will be going to momentarily, and that's where we will be spending most of our time, and we'll provide a very brief introduction when we get there. Filtered lists, which are at the bottom of this page, but also they can provide a filter of very common scenarios that may occur. They're pre-filtered lists so that you can get a subset of the full list, and we'll revisit that in a moment as well. There's also a couple of other tabs for the different Korbonos types and different animal types, and a link to the different documentation that we have on this. So without further ado, let's go to the Korban listing tab, and this is the full listing of all of the Korbonos. Now, in order, as I mentioned before, you can use the scenarios below to filter this list. And for example, what are the Korbonos that I will bring on Erev Pesach? And it will filter this list and just show you the Korbonos for those days. There's more on that in the other introductory video, so I'm not going to repeat that. But what I want to do here is do some additional analysis and to show how I could use a I can make my own filter. Now, some of the portions of the spreadsheet are locked so that the pre-built filters are not interfered with. So in order to do my own filter, I'm going to go use this symbol and create a new temporary filtered view. And if I get some message about it being locked, I just have to choose another cell. This cell A1 is a good one to choose for that. Let me dismiss this informational tab. And what we said is what we want to do is create a filter for all the Osham Tolui. So first, I'm going to select the drop down here, and I have all of the different values in this column. I'm going to clear them and then just select the Osham. Once I do that, I will see that I have a total of 6 rows here. And the first 5 are Osham Vadai. The last one is an Osham Tolui. Osham Tolui is brought when a person If they would have done a certain Avera, they would bring a Chatas. If they're not sure, they would bring an Osham Tolui. But I want to, for purposes of clarity, I want to exclude this. So what I could do is just select this filter drop down here, and I have two values, Osham Vade and Osham Tolui. I'm only interested in the Osham Vade. I'm going to deselect the Osham Tolui, and here I have my 5 cases of an Osham Vade. And I can go through and look at the different column headings, which show me the different attributes, and I can expand any place that it's listed as a plus. It's bilingual, so I can expand and get the English translation of any of these columns. One other thing that I want to point out is, anytime there's this little symbol up in the upper left-hand corner, it's an indication that there's a note in that cell. And the note would be in Hebrew or in English, depending on if the expanded is shown. Most of the notes are bilingual. In some cases, they are not. And they often provide sources for the information that is in the cell. So now we've gotten through the first scenario. Let's get to the second scenario. And this is kind of more of a scavenger hunt. What I just did is hit the X button to remove the filter. Here's the scenario. Last time when we were learning Psochim with the Daf Yomi, I thought it would be very interesting to see all of the attributes of the Korban Pesach, which are unique to the Korban Pesach and not to any other Korbonos. Some of them are listed, or they're described in the Torah. For example, one has to be a member of a group that brings the Korban Pesach. Also, it has to be roasted, and it has to be roasted whole. Some of the things are mentioned in the Gemara. For example, the Korban Pesach is shechted in 3 groups, and Hallel is said while bringing the Korban Pesach. So I put this as a scavenger hunt, as a challenge to my family to, I had my own listing, and I put this as a challenge to my family to come up with all of the things that are unique to the Korban Pesach. My granddaughter actually suggested that the Korban Pesach is the only Korban that nothing is given to the Kohanim, only the owners retain. So, frankly, I didn't know if this was true or not. And this was a big motivation for me to create the Korbonos spreadsheet. So let's explore and see if this is true or not. So I'm going to go back to my filtered views, and I'm going to create a new temporary filter view. And remember, it's called a temporary filter view as opposed to the preset filter views, which are available from the info table of contents tab. So I am going to go, some of my columns and my attributes are what is brought on the Mizbeach, what is given to the Kohanim, and what is retained by the owners. So let's first filter out that nothing is given to the Kohanim. So I am going to clear all the values and then select only this blank indication. So I have now filtered out everything. I'm only left with those that nothing is given to the Kohanim. But I also want to say, and apply a secondary filter, that the owners will get from these Korbonos. So I am going to deselect where the owners get nothing. And I am left with actually 3 cases. The first case is Meiser Behema, then Korban Pesach, and then there's Pesach Sheni, which is really the Korban Pesach just 30 days later. So now, in reality, it looks like the Korban Pesach is not unique in this area because Meiser Behema also nothing goes to the Kohanim. However, since this is my granddaughter, I really wanted to make sure that she was right. So I did a little more research, and I found out that Yerucham official Perlau, who has a perush on the Sefer HaMitzvahs to the Smag, to Sadia Gaon, says that according to Sadia Gaon, and also according to Rabbeinu Hananel, the entire animal is supposed to be given to the Kohanim. Now, in the spreadsheet, commonly I go according to the Rambam. However, the source in the Rambam plus the source in the Sadia Gaon is listed in the comments. So so we can say that according to Sadia Gaon, my granddaughter is correct. So we'll give her a star in that area. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this presentation of the Korbonos spreadsheet. I hope you can find it useful in your learning or teaching of others. And if you have any comments, any feedback, or if you need help of any type, I would be more than happy to provide that. My list information is listed in the table of contents, an email address. Feel free to get in touch with me. And I wish you hatzlacha in all of your learning. And thank you very much for listening to this demonstration.